Good day to all. Welcome to this lecture on energy density. In this lecture, we are going to see about the energy density. The definition of energy density is the energy which is present in the assembly of charges. So, whenever there are assembly of charges, energy may be present due to the presence of the charges. The potential energy which is stored inside that particular assembly of charges is going to be termed as the energy density. Suppose we have the assembly of charges as shown in the figure. If you transfer any charge from the infinity to this assembly of charge, the potential energy which is varied in this particular assembly of charge is directly proportional to the cos of this particular energy density. So we can define that this energy density is proportional to the potential in that particular assembly of charges. So whenever the charges are brought from the infinity to this particular assembly of charges, the first charge won't feel any force at all, because there won't be any charge in that particular assembly. So there won't be any potential which is available in this particular assembly. So that's why the first charge, whenever we are transferring that particular charge from infinity to the assembly, we won't feel any force. But the second charge will feel the force due to the presence of the first charge, and third and fourth and so on. So the total work done is going to be the work done to bring this particular Q1 plus the work done to bring the Q2 plus work done to bring the Qn, because if you assume that n number of charges are available in the particular assembly of charges, then the work done due to the bringing of Qn charge from the infinity to the assembly of charge. So the work done to bring Q1 going to be defined as Q1 into V11. V11 means the potential difference between the first charge in the assembly and from the charge it is in the infinity. The second charge, the work done to bring the Q2 is going to be equal to Q2 into V21, because 21 is the potential difference between the charge which is in the P2 and charge which is in the P1. So the V11 is going to be the potential difference between the charge within that charge itself in the place of this P1. So and so on. So for all the charges whichever we are being placed in this particular assembly, the potential difference between that charge and the other charges are going to be the potentials which we should have to add up in this particular potential. So for Q3 we will be having the potential of V31, that is the potential difference between the charge which is placed in the P3 and the charge which is placed in the P1. So V31 will be the potential, and also the another charge which is present in the particular assembly is going to be in the P2. So that's why we are having the potential difference between the charge number 3 and charge number 2. So we will be having the term of V32. So if you add up these things, and if you notice this particular term, that is V11, this V11 is going to be 0, because the total work done to bring the particular charge into the particular position itself is going to be 0, because the work done is going to be 0. So the potential difference between the 1 and the 1 will be 0. So that's why this term will be becoming 0. So the total work done is going to be Q2 V21 plus Q3 V31 plus V32. And if you notice that this particular positioning of charges, if it is going to be done in the reverse order, means in this particular first equation we have taken into account the work done to bring the Q1 plus work done to bring the Q2 and plus work done to bring the Q3 we have considered. But if you consider this particular order into the reverse one, then the total work done will be work done to bring the Q3 plus work done to bring the Q2 plus work done to bring the Q1. So here you can notice that work done to bring the Q3 is equal to Q3 into V33. Why? Because we have seen here that work done to bring the Q1 into the particular first charge which is present in this assembly will be the charge number 1, and here you can notice that the first charge will be the charge number 3. So the potential difference between the third charge within that charge itself, so we will be having the potential of V33 plus the work done to bring the Q2. So Q2 to bring the charge which is in the P2, that is the charge Q2, the work done to bring this particular charge will be Q2 into V23, and because the first charge will be the charge number 3 and the potential difference between the charge number 2 and the 3 will be V23, so the total work done will be Q2 into V23 plus work done to bring the Q1 will be the Q1 into the Q1 charge and the Q3 charge. The potential difference between those two charges will be V12 plus V13. So since we know that this particular V33 is going to be 0, so Q2 V23 plus Q1 V1 into V12 plus V13 will be the total work done whenever we are having the positioning of the charges in the reverse order. So from 3 to 1, if you have this particular order, then the work done will be given by this second equation. So if you are adding these two equations, we will be getting 2 into WE is equal to Q1 into, because this term and this term will be adding up, so we will be having this particular Q1 into V12 plus V13. So here you can notice that here it is a Q1 is available, here there is no Q1, so that's why this term will be the first term Q1 into V12 plus V13. Q2 term is available in the two particular locations, so here Q2 term is available, so here also Q2 term is available. Since we are adding these two equations, Q2 into V21 plus V23 will be the second term, plus Q3 into, we will be having this term will be 0, so this term is only going to be valid, so Q3 into V31 plus V32. So if you notice that we can term this 2 as the V1, because this is the potential difference between the first charge and the second charge and first charge and the third charge. Since we have assumed that we have only 3 charges in that particular assembly, so we will be having 1 to 2, 1 to 3, and similarly we may be having the potential difference between the 2 to 1 and 2 to 3, and we may be having the potential difference between the V31 and V32. So these terms can be added up into V1, V12 plus V13 will be added up to V1, V21 plus V23 can be added up into V2, V31 plus V32 can be added up into V3. So if you add these terms and if you come to the WE equation, WE is equal to 1 by 2 into Q1 V1 plus Q2 V2 plus Q3 V3. So these all terms, if you can make into the summation, then we will be having WE is equal to 1 by 2 into summation of K is equal to 1 to N QK into Vk joules. So this is the total energy density to bring that particular assembly of charges. So for the continuous charge distributions, this particular summation term may be termed into the integration terms. So if you make this particular integration into the particular line charge densities, then this Qk may be defined as the rho L into dl. So if you replace this Qk by the rho L into dl, then this term will be treated as the line charge density. So due to the line charge density, what is the energy density may be termed as the fourth equation. And the fifth and sixth equations are respectively for surface and the volume charge densities. So since this rho v can be treated as the from the Gauss law, so del dot D is equal to rho v. Since this particular Gauss law equation number 6 can be written as WE is equal to 1 by 2 volume integration of del dot D into V, because here the term is available, V is available, so V into dV. So from the known identity that del dot V into A is equal to A vector into del V plus V into del dot A. So if you rearrange this particular equation, then we require that del dot V into V, since this term is having a particular potential, that is the scalar, and the divergence term is available. So we need this particular scalar into divergence term. So if you rearrange this equation, del dot V into A minus A dot del V is the wanted equation. So if you make arrangement of this equation from this equation, then we can write from the equation number 7 and this equation number 8, we can write 1 by 2 into volume integration of del dot Vd into dV minus 1 by 2 volume integration of del dot d dot del V into dV. How we can write this equation is from making the V, that is this particular scalar term, as V here. D vector is going to be the A vector as we have here. So if you replace these two terms, then we will be getting this particular equation. That is easy to understand, so you can follow. If we apply the divergence theorem to this particular term only, then this particular term can be written as 1 by 2 surface integration of V into D, because this Vd is available as the vector term, because this is a scalar and this is a vector, so we will be having this as a whole vector. Then this vector into the surface integration, that is the differential surface of making this particular two terms into the dot product, and if you make this particular surface integral, then this term will be the replacement of this particular term by applying the divergence theorem, minus 1 by 2 into volume integration of d dot del V into dV. Here you can notice one thing, that this particular term having both the electric flux density and the potential. You can know, you may be knowing that the potential is varying by 1 by R term. So if you notice that particular potential is varying by 1 by R, or you can say if it is going to be 1 by R power n, then the electric potential, the electric field intensity or electric flux intensity is going to vary by 1 by R power n plus 1, because if you have this particular R power n, then this particular electric flux density and the electric field intensity is going to vary by 1 by R power n plus 1. So if you having this particular term is decreases very quickly as 1 by R power n term, then this ds is going to increase by that same argument. So if you have this particular trade-off between these two terms, then this first term is going to become 0. So if this particular first term is going to be 0, means we can write this particular total energy density is going to be minus 1 by 2 volume integration of d dot del V into dV. So how this particular term has become 0? Because we are having this particular changes in the potential and the flux density is going to be trading off between these two. So this particular trading off is going to yield a 0 value whenever we are going for the increasing differential surface areas. So this particular reason is going to the cause for this term is becoming into 0. So we know that E vector is going to be minus del V. Then we can write this particular energy density is going to be 1 by 2 into volume integration of d dot E vector into dV. Since we know that d vector is going to be epsilon naught E vector, then we can write this equation into 1 by 2 integration, that is the volume integration of epsilon naught E square into dV. So we can say the electrostatic energy density is going to be this small WE is equal to the differentiation of WE, that is this particular work done to bring this particular energy into the assembly of charges. This this changes in this particular work done with respect to the voltage is going to be the electrostatic energy density. So if it is going to be the case, then if you make this particular term into the differentiation, the integration and the differentiation may be cancelling each other. So we will be having the 1 by 2 into d dot E vector. Also we can write 1 by 2 E square into epsilon naught. So if you rearrange these terms, then we will be getting the electrostatic energy density is going to be d square divided by 2 epsilon naught. Thank you.